What's up,
Woo!
dude?
How are you, my friend?
I'm doing great. What's up, Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube? Guys, thanks for joining us today. Love to have you on the show. Dude, what do you got? Bayshore, what's up, man? You're first. You're
Thanks
first.
for right. Remember that from the early 2000s, Burst? Remember when that was the big thing on a new thread when you could be the first one to type first? No, you don't remember that.
Dude, keep it up. Taz, nice job.
Taz is with us as well. Taz, where's the love? Give us a like, Taz. Why aren't we getting a like from you? We're just getting your comments. That's fine. I get it. It's fine.
Judah, when did you become a like whore? Like, I mean, really?
My kids would tell you I always am. So you should follow me. You should follow me on Facebook. I'm a great Facebook follow. And I'm always posting great stories about my kids and other things like that, and interesting food experiments that I'm working on. And my kids are always like, Daddy, because like before I go to school, maybe I'll take a picture, I'll post something or whatever. And then when they get home from school, they're like, Daddy, how many likes on that photo so far? Daddy, where are we at? Where are we at on that photo?
Listen, I follow views on this show. My son does the same thing. He's like, how many did you have a good show today? How many views did you have?
How many views
did you have? Yeah, exactly. So put some eyeballs on here. Guys, you like the show? Invite your friends. Share it before we go live. Say, hey guys, these guys are so smart and good looking and intelligent that you have to come and join me at noon to watch this show. There we go.
All three of those things. We're smart, we're good looking, and intelligent. I hear that all the time.
I was talking about dude, Judah, of course, goes there. The vain one of the.
All right, so let's jump in, my friend. What news stories do we have for the day? We've got a content grill that is full of content. The steaks are sizzling up. Let's go.
You're so full of it. All right, so here's what we got today. First of all, it's Friday. Happy Friday. Welcome to the Build and Grow with Real Estate show. All right, let's take a look. Today we're doing news. I realized a couple weeks ago that instead of throwing all of the news out there and getting 5 seconds of news, of a really important news story, and it taking us an hour and a half to go over content, I've been an aggregator. I'm acting as your Google search, and I have boiled down the most important content of the week, including a Man Crush update coming at the end of the show. So do not miss it. It's fantastic. All right,
let's go.
Let's start with our buddy, Governor Wolf. I mean, look at the happy couple. Unfortunately, here we've got they've got some tough times, right? Tough times are this. On Monday, we touched on this earlier in the show or early in the week. A federal judge stamped down some of the actions of Governor Wolf throughout the pandemic. Namely, well, to start with, the judge first started off his decision by saying, hey, look, guys, you did a really great job. I know you acted with the best of intentions, great job. But unfortunately, what you did was unconstitutional.
Right.
And because of that, I got to strike it down. Specifically, because
if I steal $100,000 from Josh to give to the poor, and I intend that to be good, I'm still stealing.
And yet we have another news item today that we're going to talk about, that one state is actually doing that. So, all right, freedom of assembly. Limiting the size of gatherings is against the Constitution. Okay, that's the first thing. Second thing, equal application of the law, and by choosing the winners and losers in the economy, it has made the shutdown unconstitutional. Great.
Right.
So, of course, the Wolf administration, they fired back. They said, look, if we don't limit the size of gatherings, we're going to have a huge spike in COVID cases, infections. Judah, are we interrupting a meeting?
No, you are not interrupting a meeting. Somebody had to come and get a key from my desk. That's all that had to happen. Thanks, Alex.
Listen, I'm sassy today. I got a lot to.
You are. You had a venti mocha latte this morning,
dude. I drank 3 pots of coffee before you got up. All right. All right. So they filed an appeal. and they started by staying the order, which means that it has not really trickled down into application, and they're hoping that it gets overruled. At this point, it seems like there's not going to be much effect here. But also, the Wolf administration came back and said, you know what? Screw you, federal courts. Let's throw out another item. We're going to change things once again. So, did you ever read the book 1984? And if you haven't,
yes,
yeah. All right. Do you remember the beginning of the book?
Scary how much, I mean, listen, you're usually the negative pessimist and I'm usually the optimist. It is frightening just how much that book was supposed to predict this dystopian future, and yet how much it is very much what we are living in and what we're going through.
Yeah. So, Judah, how about this? We just got an increase in our chocolate ration.
Right.
Chocolate rations were now increased. Now, if you're a restaurant, you can fill up the restaurant up to 50% of occupancy, including the staff. So
as long as you don't sell any alcohol after 11, what
I'm saying is, not even as long as, regardless of whether you serve alcohol or not, you can't serve alcohol now after 11 o'clock. And this goes, I think this follows a very important lesson I was taught as a young kid. Nothing good happens after 11 o'clock.
Yeah. But that's also, listen, I am in bed. I try to be in bed every night by 11. Fell asleep last night watching the news, so I didn't actually get to my bed until 1 a.m. But I like to be asleep by 11 o'clock every night. So this doesn't necessarily hurt me. It's just that, when you have problems with the government containing itself to following the Constitution, who knows what other rules they could break. By the way, Josh.
Yay! Government and Constitution!
We got the Hoovers in the house.
I'm here to tell you that whatever happens, the government is not going to have a bake sale to fix it. There will be tax raises. Get yourself diversified.
Yeah, that's a news item that's coming up. So let's keep moving, Josh.
All right. I mean, why are you pushing me? I'm just.
He's ready to go now. You're standing between us and the lunch.
All right. So, number 2, unemployment. Let's get into some actual real estate news. Unemployment this week. There's really a mixed bag on the
this was kind of good, kind of bad. Not the greatest unemployment report. Still better than what it was during the worst of the pandemic, but we haven't seen as much of recovery as what they were hoping for.
Well, so
a little bit of time too, because cover the Wall Street Journal today about airlines looking for more money before October 1st, because that's how long they had to hold people. There's going to be.
Hold on here, Jonah. Look, I'm sorry. We have to keep to the schedule. We got to keep the storyline here. You're throwing me off.
That's unemployment. I'm with you.
No, I'm just kidding. So I think the biggest takeaway, Judah, you are a lot more in touch with unemployment news, and actually with the airline stuff, that's really. That's good input that I didn't see. So if you want to throw it in there, please. Let's talk about that a little bit.
No, Josh, you do this. We'll do your commentary afterwards. We're jumping all over you here. Yeah.
All right. So 860,000 new jobless claims. And what I think is hilarious with this, the only news source that's actually tracking the pandemic unemployment assistance, which are people that are like gig workers and self-employed individuals, is CNN, which is surprising to me. But hey, it is what it is. I'm glad they're doing it. The actual unemployment filings, new unemployment filings, including the PUA numbers, it's like 1.4 million. So I mean, that's a little bit scary. But I think the biggest takeaway here is that the federal and state governments have been so overtaxed with these filings. They've been flooded with them. They don't have the employees to handle the processing. So we don't even know if the numbers are accurate or not.
Yeah, we've definitely got some unreliable data that's coming out. Don't ever trust the government's numbers. Is one of the challenges. We also need to remember that these are initial claims. These will always be corrected and updated down the road. And also, these are the other thing to remember is these are weekly claims. The monthly numbers are usually a little bit more accurate. And what's also good about the monthly numbers is you can also weigh against the ADP payroll company. I had a job where I used to look at paychecks all the time from all kinds of borrowers, and it is frightening how many people get an ADP paycheck every single month.
So Tad laid himself
and
off
congratulations.
I know, right?
That's the goal. Be unemployable.
He is making it happen.
That's right. I love it. Totally unemployable. Call Taz if you need appliance repair or you're looking for an HVAC contractor. He's the man. If you're looking to sell a house, call me instead. Anyway.
Here's the other thing. Initial claims were 860,000, but the continuing claims, the people who have been on for 2 weeks or more, is down by another just shy of 1 million, 960,000. If your grandmother died and gave you $960,000, you'd say my grandmother gave me $1 million. Well, actually, I'd give it to Jana so she could help you, with tax ramifications and everything like that. But that aside, so it's not quite 1 million, but it's close enough to 1 million that we can that we can call it 1 million. 1 million less people are filing for continuing claims. See, there's Ken chiming in saying he uses ADP and he's the only employee because ADP they've just so commoditized it.
It also makes it easy to contribute to a retirement plan if you're the only employee and use an ADP. And Ken is a smart guy.
Yeah, there you go, Ken. I love it. All right, so unemployment, long-term unemployment. Yeah, that's all we got for this week on unemployment claims. Next, we talk about construction. This blows my mind, and of course, the text here.
Yeah, you said you were going to be looking into and doing some construction homework for this week's show, so I was happy to see this in the notes.
It's because there's no wood to do it with. They have to wait. Everything's on back order.
Well, so all right,
build your house out of Legos right now.
It's absolutely true. But this is the thing that's really crazy about this. Okay, we're looking at August numbers, not September. The first thing is, right now, builder confidence is at 35-year highs, and actually, Judah, I think you said this before. Like the devil's in like the secondary and tertiary numbers. That's where the important numbers lie. So on the surface, it looks like, what do you mean new construction's down? What do you mean new permits are down? But when you look at the real numbers, what's really down are the long-term holds, the apartment buildings, the multi-unit new construction. And with that being down, I mean, it makes a lot of sense. Building costs go up, and that means that your asset is going to cost you more. And as a result, it's not going to cash flow as well. So it's not as good of an investment. Whereas single-family homes are up across the board. New permits are, new permits are up 6%, and single-family new construction starts are up 4% this month. So I mean, like, that's good news.
Yeah, rates are ridiculously low. I think that I sat down and talked with a mortgage broker friend of mine who still decided to stay in that industry, and he's doing some refis for clients of his that a 15-year at 1.999, 3 nines, not just 2 nines. So it's like just barely under 2%, but still under 2%. Coldwell Banker, I shouldn't say their name. A large local retail real estate brokerage shop that's famous for having in-house lenders has told their agents, do not use our in-house lending operation if you don't write a 60-day contract. Also, I know a local bank, this time I won't say the name, that is no longer doing refinances.
Well, time out. What is the reasoning behind that? Because that's a big one. Listen,
I'm the Sultan.
get you out of here. I can click you off as easy as that. I'm just kidding. I know. You got to do the friends thing, right? Right. We love you. All right. What do you think the reasoning is behind that? Because I don't follow that off the top of my head. I'm not.
He's a hard money guy, not a big
right.
Guy.
It's just there's so much business volume right now in the purchase business that banks are deciding not to do refinances because they don't want to miss contract dates because they're working on refinances, and also on the in-house guys for realtors are basically mortgage brokers. They're not really they'll tell you they're direct lenders because they use a warehouse line of credit, but I mean they underwrite to be sold the second the ink dries. Those guys are they're so backed up that they only want to do 60-day contracts. So there's point is there's so much residential single family or under 4-unit construction going on right now, and under 4-unit buying and selling going on right now, that's where the construction industry is. The construction industry is not building apartment complexes. The construction industry needs to focus on building lots of tract homes and stuff.
Well, and so that's kind of what I was when I first saw these numbers. My initial reaction was like, "Holy cow, we're going to have climbing home prices forever." If we don't increase the inventory with these low interest rates, and if something doesn't happen, there is no top. Okay, I thought maybe you were saying with so I didn't even put a slide in here for the interest rates this week because it's redundant.
We're talking about it so much. The only reason I brought it up is I just had lunch with this guy yesterday, and 15-year at 1.999 I thought was noteworthy. Johnny, you said something about your husband, Big Mac Green, is in the construction field, custom cabinet maker, and wood is hard to get right now.
Everything's hard to get. Like they're doing a lot of stuff for the plexiglass shields and stuff like that. Steel, all that, like all those inventories are reduced, and so it's pushing back timelines, which was fine when the companies were like, we want to hold, but now the companies are like, yeah, we would like to do all of the things we talked about earlier on the same timeline, only the pipeline isn't there to supply everything. So
yeah. Well, and I think last week when we were talking about new construction costs, we looked at an increase of like 10 or 15% of the construction costs on the single family, simply because of the increase in lumber costs. So
right.
I mean, you forget
I have another builder friend who's like, I'm not doing it right now. He's looking at other things, and he does a lot of composite work and decks and things like that there's better supply line on. But he was like, I'm not doing basement build outs that require 2x4s. We're just going to press pause.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's kind of interesting you talk about composite. When I was, in 2000 and like early 2006, I don't know if you remember this or not, but overnight gas prices went from like $2.50 to $5 a gallon. And it was because there was something going on in the Middle East. There was like an oil spill. There was whatever. Something was going on. Did I say 2016? 2006.
2006.
Right?
No,
right.
Yep. We were in Montana then, and that was awful.
Right.
So, like they had to increase what your limit was at the pump, because I was driving a 3/4 ton truck. It was like it went up to $75 you could authorize at the pump.
Well, and so I had a deck that I was doing, and it was a composite deck. I sold it on like Monday. I go to get the material on Tuesday, and when they quoted me the material over the phone when I'm putting the bid together, it was one price. By the time I got there, they're like, I can't even give you a price. I can't even give you a price. The material doubled in cost in less than a week because composite material, they're using petroleum. It's supply and demand, really, right? Like it's crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy. I remember when we were coming back out of that and prices were kind of normalizing again. I remember filling up for $3.85 and feeling like I was stealing gas. And I said, there is something wrong with putting gas in my car, paying $3.85 and feeling like I am stealing it.
Right. Exactly. It's nuts. Speaking of stealing it, first-time home buyers. The numbers for the second quarter, first-time home buyers are not buying as many houses.
That's because they're all still living in their parents' basement. Did you guys talk about that already? That over 50% of the whatever the age bracket is living at home with their parents for the first time in decades.
Well, and it makes sense. First-time home buyers, according to what I saw, basically there was a 4.6% drop compared to the first quarter. I'm sorry, 18% drop compared to the first quarter, and we were almost like 4.6% lower as opposed to the same time last year. And really, it makes a lot of sense when you have a competitive market that's dependent on appraisals, because a lot of these first-time home buyers are putting down as small deposit as they can.
Yeah, they're put down small deposits, and it's a very competitive market. Yep. And these people also get frustrated and annoyed and turned off very quickly. And so I think that a lot of these people have decided to just continue to live at home. They walk a bunch of houses, find one they want, they make an offer, they're one of 10 offers, they lose. They spend the next 3 weekends walking houses, they find one they like, they make an offer, they're one of 5 or 6 competing offers, they lose. That happens 2 or 3 times, and they say, you know what, I want to go back to going out with my friends and drinking on the weekend and doing all this other fun stuff that I was doing. I'm going to put a hold on looking to buy a house right now. So I'm bullish on this segment of the economy because I think they have more affordability than this segment. Like I believe in first-time home buyers. I don't believe that they are going to rent forever. I don't believe that they're going to live in their mother's basement forever. I think that that interest rates are low. They've got good jobs. They've got the affordability. I think that if the market just cools a little bit, they're gonna buy.
I think that's right to a certain extent. I mean, okay, so one thing that is certain is that interest rates are going to remain low for a long time.
Very long time.
And so I could see this, dude. After our conversation earlier this week, I've kind of shifted my timeline on correction, as the more I've thought about it and kind of replayed my experience from 2007, 2008, 2009, 2010, and kind of playing through there were 3 years. It took 3 years to hit bottom. And that was with a huge crash. And there was a ton of inventory. And I still think that there is going to be a downturn. I don't think it's possible to just have an infinite ceiling, right? But I think it's going to be much slower and much more shallow of a dip.
I think it also could go back to being very regional. The last 2 real estate markets we've seen were national real estate markets, but historically that's just not the case. Real estate is very local. So I think that we're going to see. I think that as one of our stories that's coming up is going to talk about, people are going to be looking to move out of Florida, and people are going to be looking to move out of New Jersey, and the belief is that a lot of those people are going to go to Florida, but I also know that a lot of those people are going to be coming to Pennsylvania. A lot of people are looking to move out of New York, and they're coming to Pennsylvania. So I think that our local market is really going to benefit as a lot of other bigger markets continue to suffer.
Well, so Taz wanted to know, how do we make business decisions on investing? I'm guessing on investing, with this data and this information. I mean, I think that just like they talked about shadow inventory after the last crash, I think this could be shadow demand that, like you're saying, these are people that are likely qualified to buy a house. They're comfortable enough living at home. 50% of them live there. But look, if you're going to have a relationship and get married and raise kids, doing it in a 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom house with your parents is awfully tough,
Right.
So they're going to be moving on to the next stage in life at some point. And the longer these low interest rates go on, the more people are going to realize that, hey, they're going to start going up soon. maybe it's time for us to get out and buy. So I could see a situation where like the immediate demand kind of dwindles down through next spring, and then we have a second wave of demand following it in that first-time homebuyer market. John, sorry to.
What I wanted to say is that to let Taz know that Judah doesn't spend any time following sports, and so this is all that he consumes. It makes him lousy at parties, but it does help out in this space. So you should still, follow the Phillies or whatever your little heart's desire is. Tonight I get to be a band mom. I'm super excited that a marching band is happening tonight for high school sports, but making business decisions off of this is separate from just how it fills Judah's soul.
Right. So I would say one of the other ways that that you use this to make business decisions is you understand that the real estate market is really hot right now, and the real estate market is going to continue to be hot, and finding deals on the MLS is going to be very hard to do. But also, if you're looking to sell anything, getting it on the MLS is going to be a great way to get it out there because it's going to be a feeding frenzy for all of your property. The other business decision that I think that you should be making right now is if I have something to sell and I don't want to hold it for at least 8 years, now is the time that I want to sell it. Don't anticipate, you've got that $50,000 property in the city that you cursed yourself for buying in 2006, and you held it all through the downturn, and it's kind of come back up, and you're not sure whether it's come back up enough to sell or not. I say get rid of it now. If you have something that you don't want to own for another 10 or 15 years, now is the time to sell. Also, another business decision that you need to make is understand that values might be compressed a little bit, and if you're buying in the D price range, if you're buying in the D quality asset class, not D quality because it's not, I don't want to think that it's a quality, it's more just the asset class that we assign it to. If you're buying in C minus and D areas, your vacancy is going to go up and your value is going to get compressed, and you might not cash flow as great as you are right now. So just make sure that you really want to be in that area and limit your exposure to it. If you don't have a lot of experience in that asset class, don't have more than 5 or 6 properties in that asset class. I know people who had up to 15 units in that asset class. The first time that things started to go south, they almost lost their entire shirt because of a difficult market.
Thankfully, they still had that ring around their neck when it was done. Like the whole shirt was gone except for the ring, and they were okay.
It's a live show, all right, Josh. It's a live show.
Listen, if I can't make fun of you, I'm not going to say much.
Right.
We're giving it our whole ass, though. No half-assing. The whole shirt and the whole ass.
All right. So what is amazing, something amazing is happening right now. All the millionaires are moving out of New Jersey. They're flocking to Pennsylvania and Florida and Texas. And in a totally unrelated story, New Jersey state legislature just raised taxes on millionaires. Totally unrelated story.
Do you know why? They raised the tax on millionaires right now are paying like 8.7%. So they raised this is state taxes, not local taxes. This is on top of whatever your state, your national federal taxes.
Yeah. Right.
Here's what's interesting about this. Do you know why they did this? Do you know what they're going to do with the majority of the money?
I know exactly what they're going to do with it.
They're going to give people who make under $150,000 a tax rebate every year. And do you know how much that tax rebate is going to be?
$500.
$500.
And the cutoff is $150,000. We're not talking about people that are like scraping change together to go buy groceries.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, like really what they should do is, but the numbers wouldn't even necessarily be that much better. They should say anybody who making less than 75, we're going to pay $1,000 to, or something like that. The point is, listen, I've been broke in my life, and $500 is pretty meaningful, but it's like once every year, the government is going to give you an extra $500. That is a joke.
Judah, how about this? Check this out, right? If you look at the actual money that's collected by the federal government as a function of the GDP, as a percentage of the GDP, every year since the 1930s, do you know what's unique about it? It's consistent. Regardless of what the tax rate is, whether it's higher or lower, whether they tax the crap out of millionaires and billionaires, or whether they cut taxes, the revenue receipts are almost the same.
So what you're saying is it's almost like a rising tide lifts all boats. Would that be kind of what you're saying?
Listen. That's old news. That's like right. 40 years ago news. Like, come on, man.
Exactly.
You got to come up with something new here.
Right.
Your personal economy is more important than the national economy.
Exactly.
Exactly. Well, and the thing that's different between federal governments and state governments is in states you can move.
Yeah, you can vote with your feet.
Right. And so they did this in New York. Guess what happened to all the billionaires in New York? They left. Yeah. So, we're going to see. And I think you're right. I think Pennsylvania is going to see an influx of people coming from New Jersey, even though the home prices are slightly less expensive right on that New Jersey-PA border. The taxes are typically higher, and there's a lot of other stuff that goes on there. But whatever. It is what it is.
I'm getting a lot of value out today, Josh. I have some calls to make because I'm registered in all of those states. If you're moving from New Jersey to Texas, Florida, or Pennsylvania, you can still have the same advisor. I can help you.
I love it. I love it. All right. So our last and maybe the most important news item of the day.
Yeah. By the way, you talked about this earlier.
What could it be?
Where is there? When you mentioned Man Crush, I think it was Taz or Bayshore. One of them said, is the Man Crush an Elon Musk story?
Oh yeah, he knows.
So, do you know that Elon Musk owns
does Taz have a boat? Does Taz have a book and a shirt because he called it?
Yeah, that is. Taz did it. Yeah, Taz called it way back at the beginning of the show when we teased that we were gonna do a Man Crush update.
I'm not hiding it. I'm not hiding it at all. I'm owning it. I made the stupid. Are you kidding me? Listen, this is amazing, right? Like, I think I know a little bit about Elon Musk. I like the guy. I think it's cool what he does, and
I think he's available. You can make a call.
Right. He has a company called The Boring Company. That's the name of the company. And you know what they do? They build tunnels for electric self-driving cars under metropolitan areas. And they just finished a huge loop in Las Vegas that is by January 2021 will be operational. And you can take a self-driving car and shuttle yourself anywhere in the city of Las Vegas, like from door to door.
There's going to be a Ocean 17 about this using those tunnels.
Well, and so here's the thing: the company was founded because Elon Musk couldn't stand all of the congestion in LA, and he's like, "This is the answer. We'll put tunnels under the ground for all of these, all this traffic." The interesting thing about these self-driving cars, if they're all self-driving, the computers talk to each other. And so they know, they're like, oh, that one, 5 cars ahead is about to exit.
Right.
And it's a safe, right?
So what you're saying is, hold on, you're getting a little choppy here. So what you're saying is Elon Musk invented the subway?
Right. Exactly. The new subway, right? Except that he installed a subway in Las Vegas in like 3 years, right? And the odd thing is LA, they had a contract for him to do this, to build this. But guess what happened? Guess why they didn't? Okay, so
LA. I know that he almost moved his whole plant out of California.
Well, the reason that they're not building one in LA right now is because activists in 2018 petitioned the government, and so they canceled the contract.
Because there's endangered species living in the rocks.
There's endangered rocks under the ground.
Right.
Dude, I never ceases to amaze me. Good old government. That's all I got. That's it. That's the most important news of the week, especially the last item. Elon Musk is amazing. You know, it's going to be a good one.
Thanks everybody for checking us out. If you like this show, please be sure to like it and share it and tell your friends. And
it was super fun.
We will be back next week with more great content and news and a guest. And we've actually got a couple guests lined up for next week.
That's all. All right, guys. Thanks a lot for joining us. Have a fantastic weekend. Enjoy the great weather. If you like the show, don't forget to share and like us. We'll be back here Monday at noon. Thanks, guys.
See everybody.
Anna, see ya.